we are actually gonna be a contender in the league as well, so they have to watch out.
An exciting series between these two teams. It'll be epic to watch them do battle. But before we move into it, there is something that Caldor and I have to get off our chest. Quacknick's on his stream, personal stream. It's been a wonderful stream. Really enjoy watching it. Has called us out for all the GOAT facts that we have been stating on stream.
He felt left out a little bit. He said, like, where are the duck facts? So it's actually a fair question.
It is a fair question.
Yeah, we talk a lot about GOATs here with Urel coming in, but what about all the ducks trick?
Well, there is one thing. We have come to a consensus on this, and we say, Quacknicks, if your team can win a series, we will bring in duck facts.
You have to deliver first.
You have to deliver first, and we will follow up the deliver. So the challenge has been issued. It's all on you, Quacknicks. You get some victories with your team, and we'll bring in the duck facts. Let's go ahead and go to Battleground number 1 here in this best of 5 series. As we queue up between the two, remember, it is a best of 5. The first of 3 will win, and our first Battleground will be Cursed Hollow.
Cursed Hollow game number 1 is going to be on a very, very strong map for Fnatic. They are 4-0 currently in phase 2 of HGC on Cursed Hollow. We have seen Volskaya banned out and Braxis. And again, this is a game that really, really matters right now. For Roll20, the former Zealots lineup, it's a situation where they're 0-7 in the league. They go up against a strong contender, and 0-8 here would not be a disaster for them. And the most important part for them really is win against direct competitors. Win against Granite Gaming, win against the Monkeys. Try and secure those victories. But of course, any map they can take off some of the top teams, or maybe even a match, would be absolutely amazing for them. And then you talk about Fnatic, and Fnatic has to deliver. It's not only about winning the series, it's about making a statement here. And more so than anything else, what Fnatic has to prove is that they are able to deal now with all the pressure, since it really feels it has been one of their biggest issues, trying to find the joy in playing together again, trying to have that lightheartedness that made it possible in the past for them to take major victories, and all the pressure has been getting to them in the first part of the
That lightheartedness doesn't seem to be carried through when they're losing, and that's the major issue, is how do you find a way to be able to deal with that? We had the Leftovers matchup in particular where they went up 2-0 over them and then got reverse swept, and it felt like game after game after game, they looked weaker and weaker and weaker just because they lose that foundation they have. So after some time practicing, having a couple weeks to kind of settle the hothead, let's see how they perform today as we head straight into the draft. And some questions are already being answered. First off, Sergeant Hammer, where was she going to be? Well, Roll20 says she's going to be banned.
Yeah, Hammer time is over, at least for this game, but we have also Genji and Medivh taken out. So when it comes to bans, from the European perspective, nothing really out of the ordinary, maybe with the exception of the Medivh ban. But Medivh has been banned out at the Western Clash a lot, more so than he was in regular league play. We don't really see the same patterns mirrored in the Eastern scene, where we just had China and Korea clash together. But for a European draft, this is a perfectly normal ban here, especially for the map. It's interesting, though, that Roll20, the former Zealots lineup, go for a very, very early Dehaka here to control the global, but it caters very much to the battleground.
A hero also that Zarmani does pretty well on, too. So we'll be watching Zarmani on the Dehaka. Looking over to possible support, so Whitemane is available, and she is going to be played today on today's patch. Other notable changes, Chromie has lost a lot of damage. Also, some decent range has been ruined as well. Bronze Talons is now baked into her kit, but you have to land those Sandblasts. And then Stukov, of course, has been changed.
Whitemane is definitely going to be super interesting, especially since when you look towards Korea, she has been banned out a lot earlier today when the first Korean team is faced off against each other. Not quite sure if she's going to see the same priority in Europe. For now, we are going to talk about Anubarak and Reyna. Actually, if you look at all of the picks right now, there's a lot of power picks already coming in, especially at the Eastern Clash. Deckard, Kayn, Muradin, and Deckard, Kayn, Diablo, and Reyna had a very high priority. In this particular draft, at least Diablo not really making an appearance, but Muradin, of course, coming in again as that setup tank that is just able to make so many plays and set them up for the rest of the team to capitalize on.
Speaking of setup tank, Anubarak coming out for Roll20 Esports. We did have a couple of weeks where it felt like Quacknick's was going to go to the main tank. They were talking about this in the offseason as they tried to switch things up a little bit and try to figure out who's going to be shot calling, but they have reverted that change, and now Robodoba is back on the main tank and won't have Quack back on range. My question is, have they gotten their synergy down? Anubarak is a character that demands teamwork. You gotta be able to force the engage, but have solid cocoons and then the follow-up afterwards. If not, your team comp crumbles.
Exactly. It's all about the engage, and that's where Zarmani and Dehaka comes in too. Once the Anubarak starts making his move, there needs to be the Dehaka follow-up as well. Urel late in the draft, but she makes an appearance here, so we're going to see Last Hope on that off lane on her. And we have Li Ming in the setup as well, which means that we're now finally going to see Mene again on one of his majors.
Gosh, he loves playing Li Ming too. With a map like Cursed Hollow, you have a lot of room to wiggle around. If someone is to overstep in the areas that have chokes, you'll see him go for the aggressive punish, pulling out that Calamity on level 7 in particular. Looking over to Roll20 Esports, what are they going to do to protect this Raynor? What support comes to mind for them? Zeratul and Stukov, who has had those recent changes, coming out for them.
Yeah, Stukov has started to make his way back into the meta quite a bit. We have two supports that stood out a lot. They got Kane and Malfurion. Now Whitemane, of course, coming in too. We've seen a bit of Rega and Harazim. But Stukov is definitely one of those heroes that after the first Western Clash had a bit of a power spike and was played for a long time, then fell off pretty devastatingly, since a lot of teams capitalized on the weaknesses that Stukov had in the draft. But lately, he's starting to come back a bit. And that's also because we have the third ban, so you can target especially very mobile heroes that want to dive the backline and punish him. And that's not that easily possible any longer. Maiev on the last pick now coming in too, and that's again a really nice setup that we're now all of a sudden having here for Fnatic. We have seen Main on Maiev, we've seen Shrimpy on Maiev, so there's definitely a bit of wiggle room on who they play on which hero. But with this setup right now, they want a team fight. They have Murden set it up, they have Maiev in, and then also Li Ming trying to, of course, get those kills, get the resets, and just keep that pain train going.
I mean, the plan is pretty obvious, too. They want to dispatch of the Raynor. Being able to have Murden, Urel, and Maiev and really focus him down is going to be something that Raynor now needs his teammates to back him up, support him, make sure that he is in a solid spot so he's able to back up and put the damage in. If they do miss out on their full engage and there is that counter fight happening, a solid Cocoon in particular, that's where we can see Roll20 take this team fight. But it's going to be a hard one. I really like the comp here for Fnatic.
Yeah, me too. And again, it's about making a statement here. They picked the map where they are the strongest by far, a 4-0 in Phase 2, and they have a very aggressive composition as well. So this is all about making a statement in game number 1 and then snowball a victory towards winning the entire match. So Fnatic definitely coming out very aggressive here.
Well, let's go to game number 1 and see if the aggression will pay off, or if on the other side, Roll20 can find their composure and earn their own win against Fnatic. Game number 1, Cursed Hollow, begins now.
It definitely feels good to be back in Europe here, as we're seeing Fnatic start to the left with Mena on Li Ming. Breeze, of course, finds himself on Murden in this game. Shrimpy on Maiev. Smexy on the support. Deckard Kane for him today. And Last Hope on Urel is going to play that side lane. And especially seeing Urel coming into the draft a little bit late in the picks, considering what we've seen at the Western Clash and also how much of a priority Urel had in the past. But I feel the interaction that we have here with Fnatic picking Urel in that spot also hinges a little bit on the high priority that Dehaka got on Roll20 side.
Yeah.
Since Last Hope in the past has been very determined to pick Dehaka up for himself. So that is something that hasn't really happened here. Instead, we are having Roll20 maybe even picking Dehaka away from Fnatic. That might have been part of the thought process. Of course, the pick alone already catering towards the map. You want to have that global on Cursed Hollow so that you can get the additional value through controlling the macro game. But if you then also deny another pick to your opponent, that's 2 birds with 1 stone.
Also, when we see him on other heroes too, like Leoric, it seems like Last Hope has fallen off a little bit, especially in the late game with Landos and Tombs. So it seems like you want to go with a natural pick for him. Granted, that was 1 to 2 games, our sample size is kind of low.
Yeah, I want to disagree with that a little bit, because falling off, I mean, he had 1 bad game on Leoric.
Yeah.
Again, it was a really bad game on Leoric in the late game. Missing, I think, 4 Entombs it was against Dignitas, and if he lands one of those, especially after Buried Alive comes online, they could have won the game, maybe like forced the 5th map maybe, and then maybe even win the entire series. But I don't want to be too harsh on them on that 1 game. So Fnatic definitely as a team has, I feel, grown a lot over the course of part 1 of Phase 2, just simply because at the beginning they experimented a little bit too much. Shrimpy has talked about how he feels they tried too many things and too many heroes. And they slowly started to find a bit of a rhythm, but always falling short on the 5th map is, of course, a bit of a devastating blow to any team's morale.
For me, well, you just bring up a good point when it comes to those top laners. I'm trying to figure out where exactly most of our heroes are going to be. I mean, you have Blaze still floating around too. You can still pull him in there when it comes to the wave clear. But Urel just demands that lane so much. So when you have a Dehaka pulled out and you have Urel answer back, where do you go from there if those are banned out? Do you just think about Blaze? Do you think about Leoric? Is Thrall even a part of the equation anymore?
Definitely. I mean, if you look towards the Eastern Clash, for example, Thrall has started to play a massive role. And most of the teams actually switched from Earthquake into Sundering and just started to look for those side engages again that we had in the days of old, where Thrall was basically the hero that you tried to flank with. So a lot of these setups that we've seen at the Eastern Clash heavily hinged on Thrall, which actually even demanded early bans against the hero in most of the games that we saw towards the semifinals and the grand final. So that's something where I can feel, I can see the European teams looking at that and saying, we already played him, we dabbled in Sundering as well, but now seeing how much the Korean teams especially prioritize him, we can maybe pick that up too, if you have other heroes banned out. But outside of the Dehaka and Urel bans that you mentioned, I would absolutely agree with Blaze still being a huge pick, and depending on the map, you of course can say the same thing for Leroy. Let's say you are on Infernal Shrines, for example. Fantastic hero to control the top lane, add some value with a wave clear on the minions and the objective.
And you get that late game buried alive, which is always great in itself. Someone also I was wondering we're going to see a little bit of today, that Chromie. She seemed to get beat up pretty hard when it came to those changes.
Yeah. I mean, you are the Chromie main here, so...
I'm going to say no, but I wanted to bring it up for discussion because we're getting ready to hop into this game. It feels like it was a little too surgical. It was almost like you took a hammer and just beat out what she had available to her.
Did you see Bye Bye taken up in Korea?
I missed that game. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, I was already wondering because I gave you a little bit of a shout out there and I never heard back from you. So that basically told me that he didn't watch.
I'm sorry, man. I'm going to let you down. I'm going to be honest. I watched 1 to 2 games in the morning, one when I woke up and then one when I went to bed. But then it's 2 o'clock in the morning. What do you want from me out here in America?
Dude, where's the law?
That's right.
Where's the law?
Here on the right side in the red, Roll20 Esports, Robodoba on Anubrak, Quack on Zeratul, Zarmani on Dahaka, Chris on Rainer, Shad to play Stukov.
You know, the lack of commitment that you have in this relationship is really something that I have to wonder
Listen,
about.
we have a new thing that we're talking about. You have recently discovered other video games, so I'm going to get you nice and set up when it comes to those. Don't worry. I'm going to earn that love back. You just wait.
All right. That's definitely on you, though. One of the things that we actually see in this game now is, again, an adjustment that especially Fnatic and Breeze in particular likes to make, and that is the third wind. These days, Perfect Storm has more or less replaced third wind completely. It's really just a question of how many stacks can you get for your heroes so that you can get a little bit of extra damage out there. Currently, that's something that we've seen by the North American teams, we've seen a lot in Europe and also in Korea. But depending on the composition that you go up against, or personal preference, we still have sometimes block or third wind coming in. And especially Breeze is a player that really likes to have third wind available just simply because he can go in deep and he can jump out again after he initially took some damage. Talking about taking damage, Urel dying here as Zeratul is able to take her out.
Wow, quick pick there on Last Hope. And coming back to your third win point, I also want to, you brought the composition a little bit, but I agree with third win here, or even a block pick, just because of how quickly a fight can be over with the Roll20 composition, thanks to Zeratul later on with level 16, and then of course Cocoon coming in for a new wreck. If you get to a spot where one of your teammates are hit with a web, Murden now has that ability, because he got that third win on level 1, to step up, take a little bit of pressure, try to pull and distract away from the Cocoon setup, and then allow for his team to back up and re-engage afterwards after he gets that proc coming in. So I actually really do enjoy this level 1 pickup.
A very early pickup also on the Mercenary camp here in the middle. Going for the Night camp immediately forces Fnatic to respond to that. We have also Siege Giants taken towards the top. But it's a pretty interesting situation that we have here. Fnatic losing early on Urel. That's definitely a bit of a blow to them, considering that they are the ones who want to be aggressive. But already, another setup attempt here. Robodoba and Shad lying in wait as Quacknix is trying to bait out Breeze.
Can't wait to burrow charge into a silence. Looks like it's going to be a no Breeze. Like a rabbit. Jumps away from that fight instantly.
Easy breezy.
Easy breezy cover, girl. You're bringing the jokes out on day one, man. Perfect.
It wasn't that funny, but I like the reaction.
Just didn't expect it from you, man. I thought maybe game 3, game 4, you'd warm up a little bit, but you're coming out firing already.
Dude, I've been waiting for Europe to start up again, so I'm super happy that we finally have some EU action here going again, because this phase is just absolutely spectacular. And I can't wait to see how Fnatic, Roll20, Team Liquid, how they all perform now, and which team is going to make the claim onto a direct qualification spot for BlizzCon and who goes then through the playoffs. But I mean, when we're looking at this game here, it's really Roll20 trying to be very decisive in the way that they are engaging into these fights. They already picked up Urel early. They try to set up another trap against Breeze. It's all about and Nubarak engaging, and then an immediate follow-up by Admiral Gonzalez here with a silence, and that's exactly what we're talking about here. But Stukov is just a tiny second too late, and Breeze is able to jump out, and now all of a sudden they're turning it around.
Quack in trouble. He had to use his teleport early, and he'll get picked off as Maiev brings him in. Schwimpy going for a couple of resets too, but here's Zarmany coming from behind with the Brush Stalker, but he misses the tongue. Now Fnatic should be able to turn this around, but Breeze, he's taking a bit of a beating.
And he has a Stormbolt ready, or he should at least in a second, so he can use that too, and there it is. But they can't follow up just yet. Mena didn't have the cooldowns ready, so he could not fire away on the Haka. But there's the channel started as Mexi is trying to control this. Keep in mind, during all of this, we still had Urel up at the top because she was forced into that one-on-one against the Haka, and once the Haka burrowed down, Last Hope just was clearing another wave. So Fnatic for some time really fought a 4 versus 5 down here. It was just that quick kill against Zeratul that allowed them to still take the tribute and even get the extra experience through Urel.
Yeah, very clean play from Fnatic, realizing, okay, well, we've had Quack next to use his teleport. You can't get away from the fight. Let's try and get a kill now before Dahaka can burrow in. And then at that point, once Quack actually did get picked off, Dahaka to burrow in later just to make sure he could delay it long enough. And Urel was able to soak that up. And all said and done, Fnatic gets a nice experience lead. They get a tribute as well. They're setting up for the night camp, and they have a tribute spawning on their side of the map, which they can defend easily.
Exactly. So now we're in a situation where still Zeratul finds himself locked into that small battle with Urel up to the top. The wave clear definitely allows him to take that position. But I would actually say that right now it would have made sense for the Haka to rotate top and then burrow in again. That wasn't the case though. So Roll20 at this point, maybe with a bit of a mistake when it comes to the macro calls. But they're still in the position where they are now with 5 men down to the bottom of the map. But they don't get the added value out of the global hero.
Smexy going for the channel. Robodoba comes in and gets an impale to slow him down, but Smexy's still working on the channel here. Constant delays coming in from Roll20 Esports. They are committed to delaying this push, but they gotta be careful. That Night Camp's already pushing in the middle, and that will cause damage.
And here comes the Stormbolt, the setup immediately from Deckard came, but Breeze is in trouble, and Muradin is about to fall. Barely jumps out here. Third wind keeping him alive. A triple tether, and Zeratul falls again. Robodoba, the second one to die, and Nubarak is down, and Breeze still skirting the edges of the fight, delivering another Stormbolt that eventually leads to the kill against the Haka, and they are not done yet. They want to go for Shed. Breeze actually missing the Stormbolt, jumps in front of Stukov though. The body blocks are there for a few more seconds, and that's all that they need here. It's a quad kill as Fnatic opens up their game with a bang.
Fnatic making it look easy. Breeze barely getting away with less than 100 HP. The third win coming in, and Fnatic getting the multiple kills, and this opens up the map in a wide manner. Bottom fort already taking some damage here. 10 connects with Fnatic, and they're about to be in a spot where they can make a play for a boss and go for the third curse.
I mean, this is currently a disaster for Roll20. 1.5 levels behind, your opponent can make the boss play, and at the same time, you're also in a situation where they can easily take a curse. Tribute spawns topside now. And that's the situation where Fnatic can maybe even go for Tribute plus second boss. And that's a problem for Roll20, and a big one at that.
I'm wondering here, this level 4 pickup for a Nubarak makes sense. We got the Underking coming in, which allows for you to dive further. But considering what Fnatic has here, with 3 heroes that can kind of force a fight whenever they would like you like to see better Barbs maybe slow down the fight a little bit, allow Raynor some more wiggle room?
I mean, to be honest, I get what they're trying to do. They were attempting to be the ones that just call the shots in the game, and it worked at the beginning when they took Urel down. They tried a second kill against Breeze, which did backfire a little bit. But in their mind, the entire setup here is them engaging and getting quick kills, and that didn't really work out. If they get the first few kills with that, they're all of a sudden looking at a fantastic game. But so I can understand the choice.
Yeah.
Better Barbs would definitely have added some value, especially with Raynor, as you said. But the idea of dominating the early game through quick kills with the Nubarak, Stukov, and Zeratul, that's what caused all of this.
Well, gonna have Roll20 force a fight here in the middle. Cocoon comes out, but Mana would stop it, disintegrate. Zarmany comes in deep and goes for a drag, but will not connect. Urel rotating over as Fnatic looks to want to fight. Jumping in, here's Last Hope with the Avenging Wrath.
And the boss is still active at the bot lane, actually knocking at the wall, the key, but Fnatic jumps in again. The cage, the tether, jumping all of them in, and at the same time, Breeze is in the thick of things, trying to set up that Stormbolt again, but Maiev falls first as Schwimpy is taken apart by Stukov. The fight still raging on as the boss is active at the bottom. Already isolation coming out here, and here's the ult on the side of Last Hope, dodging all also out on the Tong as the Haka is evaded.
Shrimpy got aggressive, was able to pull in and got the tether he was looking for, but Roll20 was healthy. They were able to turn around and force a fight for themselves. Fnatic did get value out of this boss, as you were mentioning, during that fight, as it pushes in the bottom lane, opens up the keep wall, and even gets a well. But Roll20 still in the game now thanks to those kills.
Yeah, they are in the game, they got the 1 kill, but they are still behind in experience, and that's an early level 13 for Fnatic. 5 kills against 2. 8.5 minutes in, the keep at the bot lane has already taken damage through the boss. And Fnatic is in a very, very solid spot here. We had Mene also hold back his 10 for a little bit, waited for Nubarak to make his choice. And into Cocoon, so this integrate as a direct counter to that. But with a level 13 talent advantage, Fnatic can now once again go for advantageous fights.
That they can. Boss in the top right, they got to keep an eye on that. They already have Giants pushing in. They're prepping the Night Camp as well to keep that pushing in the middle, which means they'll have double-pronged pressure coming in, which will allow for them to move over towards the Tribute as they would like. All they have to do is be careful, though, of Dahaka. Dahaka is the one saving grace here for Roll20 Esports. Can keep them in the game for as long as they need, as long as he's constantly soaking on the side. And as long as Fnatic has to get 3 Tributes, they have time to build towards 16 and eventually have a free talent fight on the same talent.
And now also the Ancient Blessings on level 13, of course, a fantastic talent for Deckard Cain, a huge power spike for him.
Yeah.
The same is also true for Muradin, who now has Healing Static. So there's definitely a lot of talents that came online with the last talent level that we can see Fnatic use to just push even harder. For Roll20 is one of those moments where you have to be a bit careful. Fnatic doesn't force too much, they're just poking away at the keep in the middle, but that's already the outer defense of Roll20 gone.
All the wells, too. This next Tribute, if Roll20 can't force the fight the way they want to, they'll have to back up and won't have time to tap. Fnatic can play the sustain game, slow it down as they need to. Zarmany is able to buy a little bit of time in the bottom lane, but he's working on that 13 and has to back up. He has to be completely careful of a rotation coming his way. Quacknix does scatter out, but Zarmany's already heading to the top. He has to deal with the Giants.
I'm glad that you pointed that out. He actually moved back because he just had no vision. He didn't know exactly where Fnatic was, and with how deep he went to push the lane out, he had to consider that there might be a rotation towards him, and if he gets caught by that, he just flat out dies. So he backed off immediately, is now rotating up to the top lane. But that was definitely a heads-up play by him, just realizing, okay, they're disappearing from the map. They might go for our camp, but if they rotate towards me, I'm gonna fall if I don't half back.
Fnatic sets up for this next Tribute. Checking bushes, making sure everything is safe here. They know the ability of Roll20's composition to blow up a target if they are able to force a fight. Here comes a Burrow charge. Quacknix goes in on top of Breeze, but he has to Wormhole out, and the Tribute taken by Fnatic.
Yeah, Spell Shield, by the way, also taken on Zeratul now, so there was so much pressure against Quacknix already over the duration of this game that he felt forced to go into a more defensive talent here. And with Spell Shield, he is now going to be able to withstand the pressure through Luming in particular a little bit better. But Fnatic is already on level 15. They're checking the bushes here, they're playing this slow. The only thing that Breeze has to do is he needs to make sure that he still controls the boss at the top so that they know when Roll20 is going to make their move.
Roll20 trying to make their move. Get Breeze, he pulls out. They step up, controlling space.
It's an odd position for Roll20 to be in, because this is a moment where you're trying to force a fight around level 13 talents. Your opponent is half a level away from 16.
Oh my.
Fantastic dodge here by Shrimpy with the trade against Robadoba's ult, and that already sets Cocoon on a 60-second cooldown. That was really, really well done, and a good reaction time.
If you're Robadoba there, you are upset with yourself, trying to toss it out there, grab it on Maiev. Sure, there is a chance that she may miss it, but Shrimpy just perfect on the timing.
And it means that you're going to have a rough time fighting now for this.
Yep.
So Fnatic, of course, doesn't want to YOLO into the fight since they're only half level away from 16. But without Cocoon ready, this is definitely a bit of an iffy spot for Roll20 to be in. And already there's another wave pushing through the bot lane, and that keep is eating more and more damage. This is starting to become a massive problem, which is why the Haka just went back to defend it. So now Fnatic can push even farther forward.
10 seconds, and Roll20 will have one more chance here to force a fight before 16 connects with Fnatic. Dahaka can burrow in any point here on the bottom left. Fnatic fully aware of this. You see Urel in the top left corner. She's watching that bush. She's watching for a flank. She's keeping an ear out for Dahaka. If he is going to brush talk in, she can make sure to shut him down.
Now Cocoon is ready again. And also we're talking about Breeze trying to get some more Stormbolt stacks. He's currently sitting at 22.
Dahaka.
23 right now. Once that he completes the quest, he's going to become much more dangerous in these situations. Shad interrupted, clutch interrupt, but it works out for them. And they're just trying to buy the time until they hit level 16.
Breeze is able to save a Stormbolt, so he gets a second interrupt. Roll20, stepping forward, they want this tribute. They need to get before 16. Drag comes out, Shad comes over, has a silence too. Roots down Breeze. Here comes Quack, gets in a cleave.
And at the same time, Main in the backline already doing the damage. The Cocoon is out, is integrated immediately, burning it away. 16 isn't there yet, but he will be any second, and already the Haka in trouble. Zarmony is falling. The quest completed on Murden, 16 in their hands, and they are going straight for boss as Breeze is channeling the tribute.
What I admire about Fnatic right now is they're just showing so much patience. Roll20 comes in for another engage. Here's a silence, will be enough to kill off Breeze. Chris trying to dish out the damage, but the VP allows Breeze to run in.
That was actually a really nice move there. Zeratul goes down and Breeze still surviving. Good job also by Deckard Cain. Another double kill, make it a triple in total as we see Fnatic heading towards the boss. 8 kills against 2, Fnatic on 16, and they are in a fantastic position again, since this boss is going to get bottom keep quite easily.
And a small thing that happened there with Uriel as well, she put up that Avenging Wrath and tried to time it perfectly with the VP going down so she could provide armor straight over to Murden to make it harder for him to fall. He was then able to dwarf toss out. Little small call out there for last hope, but the small things are always what matters in a team fight.
I'm actually interested to see how Fnatic is going to play this, since we have a tribute at the top lane. So they could go for top lane boss plus curse, but they don't do that. Instead, they move down to the bot lane. I'm not quite sure why. It seems like they are trying to go for core here, because that keep is going to fall either way. I would have expected the rotation top, them taking the second boss and tribute so that they curse the opponent and get more keeps out of it. But it really feels like they're going to try and make the play for game now.
One thing to consider is they have the possibility to force fights as they want, and with VP being on such a large cooldown and still on it for 30 seconds, they believe they can force that fight and get that pick. And they're looking for it. Breeze jumping in, there's Chris on the side. Chris has to back up towards the well, but the rest of Fnatic, they turn their attention to hit the core with the boss.
Nice, Quack going down, good kill for Fnatic. The boss already on the core, the shields are gone. And Roll20 is losing those shields rapidly. The core is going down as we have Fnatic going for game number 1 and victory on Cursed Hollow. GG as Fnatic picks up the first point.
The aggressive dive composition from Fnatic proves to be worthy, but what I gotta really point out is their ability to wait around for the perfect opportunity. First off, they have a front line that's incredibly powerful. You have Uriel and Murden. Those aren't gonna get blown up too easily unless you make a major mistake, and they knew that. And then you get the follow-up from Maiev as you have Schwimpy coming in to force the engages. They just played this composition in an incredible fashion, and it really allowed for them to kind of run over Roll20.